And sir, also people who are suffering from lung diseases, are they also at a higher risk during COVID-19?
See, what happens with lung diseases is basically one should understand the lung is compromised. Okay, lung is
Yeah.
compromised in its defense mechanism. Lung is compromised in its epithelial integrity, यानी lung की जो lining होती है वो compromise होती है. तो
Hmm.
COVID-19 becomes very easy for any virus. COVID-19 छोड़ दो कोई भी virus को lung को invade करने के लिए, right? एंड अगर जो होस्ट की इम्यूनिटी थोड़ी थोड़ी ज्यादा कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो जाए यहाँ वहाँ तो लंग में फ्लोरिड निमोनियाज हो जाते हैं, वायरल निमोनियाज हो जाते हैं, एयरडिया सॉर्ट ऑफ पिक्चर आ जाती है, वेंटिलेटर एसोसिएटेड निमोनियाज भी काफी डिस्टर्बिंग है लंग्स के लिए, राइट?
Yeah.
बेसिकली स्मोकिंग इज डन टू मच, राइट? लॉट ऑफ इंटीग्रिटी ऑफ द लंग एपिथेलियम इज डिस्ट्रॉयड. इंटीग्रिटी यानी उसकी जो मैट्रिक्स जो होती है जो लंग को संभाल के रखती है बराबर, वो एक एंजाइम होता है इलास्टेस, न्यूट्रोफिल इलास्टेस, उससे वो टूट जाता है.
Okay.
और बेसल मेम्ब्रेन की जो परत रहती है वो टूट जाती है. तो ऐसा कहने का मतलब है कि आपका वायरस एंटर है डैमेज लंग में पहले, और जब वो डैमेज लंग में एंटर होता है तो धमाल मचाता है फिर, क्योंकि बॉडी तो रिस्पॉन्स माउंट नहीं कर पाती इतनी, तो पेशेंट सीवियर हो जाते हैं उसमें.
Okay.
सर, वुड यू लाइक टू ऐड समथिंग, समीर सर?
Dr. Verma, you want to say something before we leave?
Would you like to add in something to what I've said?
No, it's no, perfect.
Thank you, sir.
So I would like to thank Dr. Verma for joining us today, and we will see you next time whenever we'll host you. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Ankit, for calling
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Ankit,
you,
for
Dr.
calling me.
Verma. Joy to see
Thank
you.
you, Dr. Rahul. Thanks a lot for your eloquent description. Thanks a lot. Sure.
Ankit, hi.
Yes, Dr. Rahul. Dr. Rahul, so one of our viewers from Nigeria, they are facing a problem because in Nigeria there are a lot of cases of pneumonia during
Yeah.
COVID, and they also have a
Yes.
testing problem. So they are trying to do the testing, but they don't have the testing kits. That's what's happening in a lot of countries in Africa. So how you can see that these kind of symptoms, especially in Africa?
See, to be honest to you, if there are no testing kits, the degree which a radiologist would differ from a COVID pneumonia to a non-COVID pneumonia is only 5% difference of opinion among the radiologists. It is study proven. Okay, this is published study data कि दो रेडियोलॉजिस्ट के बीच में कोविड निमोनिया के लिए ओपिनियन मैच होते हैं, है ना? तो जब आपके पास टेस्टिंग किट अवेलेबल नहीं है तो अपने सीटी स्कैन तो अवेलेबल होगा आपके पास, आप अपने रेडियोलॉजिस्ट की हेल्प लीजिए, आप क्वांटिफाई कीजिए डैमेज क्या है बराबर, और उसका ट्रीटमेंट स्टार्ट कीजिए. कि बेसिकली कोविड का ट्रीटमेंट सपोर्टिव है, अभी तक कोई मेडिसिन इतनी कारगर साबित हुई नहीं है. आई एम सॉरी टू से, टिल नाउ वी हैव जस्ट हर्ड, जैसे लगता है ना एक गुलाब का फूल दिखा देते हैं गुलदस्ते से कि ये दवाई आ रही है, ये दवाई आ रही है, आ कहाँ रही है गॉड नोस, because it's still too early to comment anything on that, right? So best supportive treatment. Okay, जैसे मैंने ARDS बोला, तो ARDS का मैनेजमेंट क्या है, राइट? फ्लूइड रिस्ट्रिक्शन थेरेपी, प्रेशर कंट्रोल्स करने, वॉल्यूम कंट्रोल करना, लंग का वेंटिलेटर स्ट्रेटजीज एडजस्ट करनी है आपको, राइट? एंड यू हैव टू टेक गुड केयर ऑफ पेशेंट. Okay, then there's interleukin 6, which is a anti cytokine enzyme, which is not available everywhere, right? But there are other cognos of it. So you have to choose your kitty. The doctor has to choose his kitty and take a best jigsaw puzzle and play it accordingly. See, there cannot be a one standard rule in this disease. This disease will be treated by this pattern only, because the virus has mutated till now 30 times. If this is the rate of mutation of the virus, then I don't think so there is one way which you can handle it. You will have to handle it as case goes by.
And sir, also a lot of doctors are also very worried or maybe very scared or tense during the COVID situation, mentally as well as the way you work, because sometimes doctors are not able to drink water in a lot of maybe 5, 7, 10 hours once they have the PPE kit ready. So what kind of precautions you are dealing in hospitals?
See, basically such things are known to happen, right? There are no precautions for such things except for your mental preparedness. Have water early and go in. If आपने वो PPE suit डाल लिया तो PPE suit itself is suffocating so much, uncomfortable suit.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to bear with it. There's no other choice. You have to think. If you save yourself, you can save 10 other people.
True.
Right. If you don't save yourself, then let me tell you, to make a good doctor, it takes 40 years
Yeah.
of hard work and institutional training, efforts by the government from when the child grows up to become a doctor. And to
Yeah.
lose a doctor just in a freak stroke is 40 years की मेहनत एक साथ आपकी पानी में चली
And
गई.
true.
समझे? ये कोई रियलाइज नहीं करता. एक अच्छा डॉक्टर बनाने के आपको 40 साल तक जाते हैं. तो उस 40 साल को याद रखें लोग कि मैंने 40 साल, जैसे मेरा एक बाद वॉइड आएगा 40 साल का, और बेयर कर लें चीजों से. Because there is no point in complaining about anything, Ankit, now. Right? We are in the
I'm
disease.
just trying to understand that how you keep yourself mentally strong and mentally fit, so that you all go out and do it. Because I spoke to a lot of doctors offline, and their families are not happy. That they think that this is a very difficult situation, and I mean we are very worried about you. And they have also small kids. So I'm just trying to understand how actually.
See, I tell you now, honestly, one thing. Let me tell you a testimony of my life. I was in love, very bad state of Parkinson's disease. I've seen death approaching closely, and I've realized one thing: मरना है तो मरना है दोस्त. चाहे डर डर के मरो या हंस के मरो, जाना तो हर एक को एक दिन ऊपर है. It is your decision how you want to live your life like. Right? Who is important to you in your life? If family is important, then I would say please stay with your family. Right? Do not come out. Okay?
Yeah.
Then you should have no regrets. If your profession is important, please come into the field. Then have no regrets. Life without regrets, because whether I will catch COVID or I will not catch COVID is speculative. Right?
Yeah.
I've seen death closely, so I know कि मुझे पता है कि जाना है तो एक दिन तो जाना ही है हमको सबको. राइट? तो क्यों ना हंसते हंसते चले जाए. देखो लोड लेके ना अंकित सोच सोच के ना हम, what we get into is that cycle where we bog down ourselves, we break down ourselves. गवर्नमेंट को गाली देते हैं, इसको गाली देते हैं. क्या फायदा? कुछ बदलने वाला है उससे? एटलीस्ट डू व्हाट वी कैन डू इन आवर हैंड्स. अगर जो आप, मेरे उन डॉक्टर से निवेदन है जो नहीं जा सकते फ्रंट पे, बराबर, जो फील्ड पे नहीं आ सकते, चिंता की कोई बात नहीं. आप फिर भी हेल्प कर सकते हो लोगों की. कैसे? गो ऑनलाइन, सर्व द आर्टिकल्स, फाइंड फॉर्म अ यूनिक कोऑर्डिनेशन अमंग्स योर पीपल. बिकॉज जो फ्रंट लाइन पे है उसके पास टाइम नहीं है ऑनलाइन जाने का, पढ़ने का, डेटा गैदर करने का. राइट? जो ऑफलाइन बैठे हुए डॉक्टर्स हैं, दे कैन डू दिस थिंग फॉर द ऑनलाइन डॉक्टर्स. फाइंड आउट सम स्ट्रेटजीज, कम अप विद द स्ट्रेटजीज, टेल योर फ्रेंड्स, देखो भाई ये दुनिया में चल रहा है, आप इसको इम्प्लीमेंट कीजिए और फिर रिजल्ट देंगे. तो वंस ये जो दो तबके हैं, देखो क्या होता है, लोग घर पे बैठे हैं तो अपने आप को लॉक करके बैठे थे, पर इंटरनेट तो आपको लॉक नहीं किया है. इंटरनेट तो है, तो आप घर बैठे भी अपने कलीग्स की मदद कर सकते हैं. इस बात में फ्रस्ट्रेट होकर जलने से अच्छा कि मैं घर में क्यों बैठा हूँ. खुश रहिए कि आप घर में बैठे हैं, ताकि आप अपने कलीग्स की जो फ्रंट लाइन पे है उनकी हेल्प बहुत कारगर तरीके से कर सकते हैं, और जो आप अपना समय इस्तेमाल करना जानते हैं तो.
No, sir, very well said, and I think it's a very good information, and especially for doctors, because जैसे आप बता रहे हैं, अगर सब लोग ऐसे ही सोचेंगे तो I think we can certainly fight with these kind of pandemic, because it's a one world, and we have to plan and share the best practices so that we can win this we can win this corona war. Basically, I know it will take time, and corona will be with us for a long period of time, but once we have a vaccine, then we have a big relief or big room to do it. But I would also ask you, do you think we need more psychologists in this current pandemic, both for doctors and for patients? Because a lot of patients are also afraid of. Yes, sir.
Yeah, honestly speaking, more than psychologist, I feel we need a lot of information dissemination, right? Because what is killing us is lack of information. कि जब आप एक अंधेरे, एक वैक्यूम में आ जाते हो कोविड नाम के, बराबर, जहां पर आप हर बार ये सुनते हो कि न्यूज चैनल बोल रहे हैं कि ये डॉक्टर मर गए, एंड इट बीइंग बम्बार्डेड एवरी डे, इतने डॉक्टर मर रहे हैं, इतने फ्रंट लाइन वर्कर रहे हैं. अरे मरे तो रहेंगे 2 या 3, which is expected. I'm not being asympathetic, but I have full sympathy towards my fraternity. But this is the risk we carry.
Yeah.
ये रिस्क को हम नेगेट नहीं कर सकते. हम नहीं चाहते हुए भी हमें वो सिचुएशन फेस करनी पड़ती है कभी कभी, राइट? सो हम क्या कर सकते हैं? इंफॉर्मेशन का नेटवर्क बना दो एक अच्छा सॉलिड, एंड प्लीज रिक्वेस्ट द न्यूज चैनल्स नॉट टू बम्बार्ड डेथ रेट्स टू मच. एक बार आपने बता दिया कितने गए तो ठीक है, कुछ पॉजिटिव चीजें भी हो रही हैं उसके साथ, राइट? गवर्नमेंट की कुछ पॉजिटिव स्ट्रेटजीज आ रही है. अब पॉजिटिव्स पे क्यों नहीं फोकस करते?
ठीक बात है
कि पॉजिटिव पे फोकस है तो लोगों को पता पड़ेगा क्या हो रहा है यार. देखो आजकल आदमी इतना डरा हुआ है कि बोलता है अरे कल क्या होने वाला है, मुझे पता नहीं, मुझे खुद बाहर निकल गए. आपने सुना रहेगा सुबह पटड़ी के नीचे बेचारे वर्कर्स मर गए, मालगाड़ी के अंदर,
Yes,
राइट,
sir.
बट नो इन्फॉर्मेशन। और जो उनके पास इन्फॉर्मेशन होती कि गवर्नमेंट की 1 2 3 4 स्ट्रेटेजीज हैं, प्लानिंग ऐसी चल रही है, तो कौन निकल के जाएगा यार घर के बाहर? See, this is what, instead of getting a psychologist to work, if proper information is disseminated, right, we accept the truth, but we work towards a better world. That is what I want to tell.
And also, sir, I would like to add that prevention is better than cure. If we prevent
Yes.
ourselves, then I think we don't have to work about the cure and all those things, because
See,
cure might be a little far from here. But if we prevent very well, if we follow the right precautions and if we follow what our doctors are,
yes.
guiding us and sharing the thoughts and sharing the best practices, I think we can survive well. And it's
And here I want to tell the viewers especially, please, 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 do not hide your symptoms. हमने काफी बार पाया कि पेशेंट को कोविड जैसे सिम्टम्स होते हैं, पेशेंट डॉक्टर के पास, कोविड हॉस्पिटल में नहीं जाना चाहते हैं, वो दूसरे हॉस्पिटल में आना चाहते हैं, तो क्या हो जाता है, दूसरे हॉस्पिटल को इन्फेक्शन हो जाता है, राइट। आपके लिए डेजिग्नेटेड एरिया है, भले वो फुल प्रूफ नहीं है, भले वो 5 स्टार होटल जैसा आलिशान कमरा नहीं है उधर, राइट, वो आपके लिए डेजिग्नेटेड एरिया है। क्या आप इस महामारी को रोकने के लिए कोऑपरेट करने को तैयार हैं गवर्नमेंट और हमारे साथ? या हम ऐसे अपने ऐशो आराम की, या मुझे इस 5 स्टार रूम चाहिए, ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए, चाहे मैं झूठ बोल के 10 लोगों को इन्फेक्ट करूं,
बिल्कुल
ऐसा इररिस्पांसिबल बिहेवियर हमें दिखाना चाहिए? दिस इज अ क्वेश्चन आई हैव फॉर द व्यूअर्स टू थिंक अबाउट। थोड़ी सी तकलीफ होगी,
बिल्कुल,
पर आप महामारी को रोक सकते हो। रोक लिया तो अच्छी बात होगी, नहीं रोक पाए तो सब जानते हैं। फिर अंकित, आपको जो सवाल है ना, लॉन्ग टर्म इफेक्ट्स, वो वैलिड नहीं रहेगा, क्योंकि लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए जिंदा रहने कोई चोट लगेगा।
Bilkul, sir. Well said. And I think we have to do as a global community, and that's what Kimberly wants to know, that how we can work together and share information in a much more better, appropriate environment within ourselves and within the countries. What do you think, sir?
Information in a most appropriate environment. You want me to answer this, Ankit, or somebody else is taking the question? Okay.
No,
Pardon? Tell me, Ankit.
You can take this question, sir. This is for you.
This for me, okay. See, Ankit, the information can be shared, like, in a very designated way. There should be one person to disseminate all information. None of us speak anything. See, like you asked me about the BMC thing, right? I told you very plainly that it is not appropriate in this pattern to speak, right? Even if I know, why should I jump on a television screen? Baba, ye hua. Zarurat nahi hai na uski. How does somebody's presence in office change my approach to the disease? It doesn't.
Yeah.
So let us talk of relevant things first.
True.
And let us emphasize to people what is being done in the pipeline. अपने देश में कितने तरह से रिसर्च स्टडीज हो रहे हैं अपने देश में, आपको पता है? There is one company, I will not name it. It has a fantastic molecule which is taken by ICMR, alpha hydroxylase. उसका लिया है न्यूलिप करके एक और मॉलिक्यूल है, which are being tried. Indigenous companies are being bringing up such things.
Yes, sir.
So when they're for study phases, who will tell the world? You guys, the news channels will tell the world that such a research is happening. हम सोचते हैं कि यार हमारे पास कोई रिसर्च ही नहीं हो रहा है. We are hopeless situation. We are not a hopeless country. 90% of our stock we are producing, N95 masks. We are supplying ventilators to the world, right? You are aware of that, right? When we can do it for the world, we can do it for our home also, right?
Certainly, sir, certainly.
So ये confidence
I understand. Sir, media is not doing what the media needs to do, and we have to talk about positive. There are a lot of things going around during COVID. You can see that atmosphere is rebooting himself, and we are seeing a lot of environmental happiness going around. We are seeing birds all over. I'm not sure about Bombay, but Delhi atmosphere is superb, and we have never seen it from past decades. Right. So that's happening all around. People are happy. Everything is going fine. It's just that we are sitting at home and idly. So you know that when people sit idle, they have a lot of things to do. So and that bothers them. But we need to speak.
Yes, can I give you a suggestion? See, sitting idly at home is a blessing. क्यों? आज तक कभी फुर्सत नहीं थी अपने घर वालों से बात करने की, आपको काम में बिजी रहते थे, आने जाने में वक्त बिताते थे। आज कुछ फुर्सत मिली है, मिलके दो बातें कर लो, मुस्कुरा लो, देख लो एक दूसरे को। तुम एक परिवार के हो, पर एक परिवार के नहीं थे, तुम वर्क परिवार के थे, घर के परिवार के नहीं थे। आज तो वो मौका मिला है, उसको तुम हाथ से न जाने दो दोस्त।
Well said, sir. Well said. Well said. But also, I mean, you know that, I mean, a lot of people wants to go out, and I don't want to mention where, but you know that there are a lot of lines outside big cities and small towns,
Yes, 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 yes.
and all those
See,
things that they are not following social distancing. And we at IBM TV, and especially our viewers, are very concerned that this might cause another problem in near future. I don't know why. I can't comment on government and all those things, but I
see,
don't
Ankit,
see it's going in the right direction.
let me tell you, Ankit, honestly, one thing. When will the people form lines when they are not having information, when they are not sure of what is going to happen? और उसको ये लग रहा है कि यार इस प्रदेश में कोरोना इतना बढ़ गया है, डूम्स डे आ रहा है, मैं अपने परिजनों को जाके मिलके देख लूं यार एक बार, या मैं यहाँ से निकल भाग जाऊं, राइट? दिस इज स्टैंडर्ड ह्यूमन रिएक्शन.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work happening. Let the reporter approach the authorities. जो क्या काम कर रहे हैं, बराबर उसको पब्लिसाइज कीजिए ना, लोगों में आराम का वातावरण लाइए, लोगों में पैनिक मत लाइए. बोले देखो अंकित कैसे होता है उनमें जो न्यूज चैनल ऐसे होता है, आज की ब्रेकिंग न्यूज 10 मर गए 10 मर गए 10. अरे एवरी मिनट यू आर टॉकिंग 10 मर गए 10 मर गए. 11 तो मरा नहीं पूरे दिन भर में, तो आई एम हैप्पी.
हाँ जी.
10 के ऊपर ही रुक गया, बराबर 11वां बचा लिया उसने, राइट? 11वां बचा लिया. तो यार आप लोग पॉजिटिव चीजें बात करो ना. See, we have to be mentally strong to face this disease. Number one, we have to use all our weapons at hand. Let it be anything and everything to curb it. And it is curbable. I'm not saying we cannot win this. When we have controlled it to such a level in the world से हम इतने अच्छे कर रहे हैं, we can do it better. Like I have resorted to उनकी, जब मैं घर में रहता हूँ मैं गाने बनाता हूँ, गाने गाता हूँ, दोस्तों को सुनाता हूँ और अपना टाइम पास करता हूँ, वीडियो एडिटिंग करता हूँ, साउंड एडिटिंग करता हूँ. Right, I've developed my passions in this time. Right.
So that's what we are doing. I mean, on IBM TV, we are doing live shows since the lockdown started. I remember since 13th of March, we are doing live shows for our audience around the world.
Yes.
And it's 7 hours, and we discuss the best practices. And we always try to be positive in a round, and we try to share the best information, because a lot of information is not available for our viewers on media channel. And you know, I'll tell you one more thing what happened. Last week, there was a asteroid from space was about to hit Earth, but it just passes by. You know about it? None of the media people covered that.
See,
it was a big corona. It was big as a dinosaur.
Something which was bigger.
It was closely hit by the Earth. Basically, it's just that we just make ourselves. I don't know. I mean, fortunately, it just passes by. But if it hits, it would be a big damage, basically.
See, Ankit, I will tell you one more positive take in this story. I don't believe whether you believe in God or not. I'm a firm believer in God. What's it? ऊपर वाले ने जो कॉमेट को बाहर से धकल दिया, जो अपने को लग के, और वो फुटता था तो अर्थ जीरो होता था, लाइफ जीरो होता था पे. इट वाज दैट बिग. ओके, द इंपैक्ट वुड हैव बीन दैट बैड. जब ऊपर वाले ने उसको ढकल दिया, तो ये क्या चीज है?
सही बात है, बिल्कुल.
It's a time of testing of faith and holding on to what you have. That's it. And soon the storm will be over.
No, sir, I completely agree. I can see the life after pandemic. If we can survive today, we have a very good and bright future tomorrow for us and for our future generations. But we have to live together, and we have to live like a team, and we have to live like a family. We can't do everything alone, basically.
Yeah, Ankit, like I told you, the doctors who are at home, log on the internet, surf for theater research, use your intellect, find out research papers which are going to benefit those in the front line, pass it on to the front line, help your front lines well. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप पीछे बैठे तो आपकी कोई जिम्मेदारी नहीं है. जब एक सोल्जर वॉर करने जाता है तो उसको ग्राउंड डिफेंस स्ट्रेंथ लगती है. एरोप्लेन जब एयर स्ट्राइक करता है तो उसको रेडार को एयर ट्रैफिक कंट्रोल गाइड करते हैं, बराबर. वी नीड अ टीम. इट कैन नॉट बी ऑलवेज ऑन द फ्रंट लाइन. वी नीड समबडी ऑन द बैक लाइन. And believe me, if this coordination is achieved among our doctors, well, front line or back line ka, we can win any capable war with any pandemic. Because if you have bolo.
Sir, I mean, how we can share the information in a much more appropriate manner, not in India but around the world? Because I think that it might be through government it's going on, but can we do something privately? Maybe on IBM TV.
What I do, I will tell you. colleagues across the world, we log on to Zoom call, okay,
Okay.
and we discuss our scenarios with each other. Zoom is a platform which gives us free calls to
Yeah.
40 minutes. And we have been fortunate enough to every time get extra 40 minutes and extra 40 minutes on the call. Because
Okay.
and the company also realizes these guys are doing something fruitful.
Something
So
good.
let them be benefited by that 40 minutes. And we always hope for those 40 minutes to come.
Okay. Okay. That's good, sir.
So,
No,
you can share information with your colleagues, number one. You can share information with people, number two. Number three, what you can do is, right, form a team of your experts across the world, right? And you can discuss research studies which have come. See, there's so much chaos in the research world कि हर कोई 3 पेशेंट 4 पेशेंट का स्टडी करके पब्लिश कर देता है. पब्लिकेशन की होड़ लगी हुई है. आपने देखा रहेगा अंकित. And if
बिल्कुल
I
बिल्कुल.
go through your questions, Ankit, you guys have gone through the research papers and put the questions down there.
Yeah.
Viewers have gone to the research papers, right? I know that you have gone because I
Yeah.
have also screened the research papers every day. So
Yes.
जब आप स्क्रीनिंग करते हो तो आपको पता पड़ना चाहिए कौन से रिसर्च को उठाना है, कौन सा नहीं उठाना है, कौन सा फायदा है, कौन सा नहीं है. और जो
बिल्कुल.
ये इन्फॉर्मेशन शेयर हो जाए हर प्लेटफॉर्म पे, will come out with a positive and a most devastating weapon with our hands to destroy
Certainly.
this disease.
Sir, we try our best to do it, and before I'll
Yes.
tell you how we make ourselves available before our show. I try to watch all the world news, what's happening in different parts of the world, and
Yes.
world news not about the death rate, but about what are the positives coming out from different worlds, what are the
Right.
research things, and how we can
Hmm.
discuss that on our platform. And also, while doing it, I sir realized that if suppose I have a lab in India and I am almost at the third stage of testing or clinical trial, is it possible that I can share my formula or my licensing to a company in a different country and then they manufacture medicine for that? Because
To be
yes, sir.
honest to you, Ankit, I'm cutting on this is a policy decision making question. Okay.
Okay,
Here the government norms have to be followed and the
okay,
policies of the pharma industry. Pharma industry is
yeah,
not a hanky panky industry. The pharmacological company society is there. They have laid down some norms for the industry to function, right? You just cannot take a
yeah.
molecule license and give it to somebody to say, "Abhi aap bhi प्रयोग करके देख लो करके." It is not that easy.
Achha, okay, okay.
See, there are laws governing this thing and that thing. See, because what if that drug causes adverse drug reaction in the other country, buddy? Who will be
No,
responsible for that? You know it's a
that's
double-edged
good.
sword. So what I'll suggest is what we can do is we can take research licenses across the place. That is what, see,
Okay,
like remdesivir was tried in US, was tried in China. We can have association with investigators across the world.
yes,
Can make a
yeah,
single platform updated, which is happening now. Fortunately, is happening. A lot of websites, if you go like trials.gov.in, has data of all the trials which is going on, right? So access those and do not succumb to any hanky panky news कि आज वैक्सीन बन गई है, सक्सेसफुल हो गई है, ये रामबाण आ गया, वो रामबाण है. अरे रामबाण
sir.
है तो इतने मर क्यों रहे हैं भाई? डिजीज रुक
सही
क्यों
बात.
नहीं रही है, right? Are we ignorant? So much ignorance is there in our doctors that we don't want to use those things? I say no, because we have to wait carefully, right? In this scenario of confusion, the best thing is आत्ममंथन करो, टीवी को थोड़ा बंद रखो, न्यूज चैनल्स को खासकर बंद रखिए, बराबर. डेवलप योर टैलेंट्स एंड ट्रस्ट योर डॉक्टर who are working hard for you. That's it, sir.
Well said, sir. And also, sir, while doing all those best possible things, we still see a lot of news from different countries that they are claiming that the vaccine is coming in September, in August, maybe in July, things like that. But my question to you is that suppose if someone will come up with a vaccine maybe in December in India, okay, but we are 1 billion people. Do you think it's possible to get the vaccinated to everyone within a short span of time?
Let me ask you a question, simple, Ankit. We have 1 billion people, and where have we restricted our disease to? Have we crossed
We
even
have
1 lakh? We have not
no,
even
no, we
crossed 1
haven't.
lakh on the
Yeah,
router, right? How many deaths are there in our country? Are they in lakhs?
no.
No. When we have played so well here, we will play better there. Okay? My point to you is, Ankit, very straight and very simple. That the way we are playing with this disease, at what levels are we playing with this disease, is so good and so effective that despite not being the best healthcare in the world, We are not the best healthcare
Yeah.
in the world. Let's be honest to it, right?
No,
We are
certainly.
one of the countries who people look down to when it comes to healthcare. Now people are looking up to us on healthcare, right?
Yeah.
But when we can with the public doctor and government participation in together in one accord, right, to restrict this disease spread, right, we can achieve wonders.
तो उसमें long term जाने पे अटके के लिए आ जाएंगे.
Right. We can produce wonders, Ankit. Okay.
Yes.
So we can do it. It is not that कि किसने vaccine बनाई तो yeah. I'll tell you the production capacity in India is so great. We have such a indigenous production system. See, I was a pharmaceutical company head at Gufic, medical head, right? At Gufic में medical manager medical services था. Our plants were so good. I was shocked to see an Indian plant fully automated.
Okay.
कभी हमने सुना है किसी कंपनी का प्लांट फुल्ली ऑटोमेटेड? सिप्ला के प्लांट फुल्ली ऑटोमेटेड है वैसे, राइट? We have the technology, boss, but just we are not aware of it. समझे आप?
Yeah. Awareness is what we are missing because we have a lot of things to do on the news portal, and that's why things are not shared.
We are always carried away by the West. We are always caught away by the West. We have also good things in our country, right? If I tell you the plants are run by not more than 10 people, would you believe it? The
Really?
Navsari plant of Gufic only request 10 people to run the full plant. It is fully automated plant, no touch technique. So when I'm giving you the name of one company which I've worked with, right? There are so many companies in the country, so many production units which are doing well. So your country has a capability to produce quality products. Number one, we should remember that. Our country has the capability of launching new products, right? And third, our country has the best brains in the world, right? Since we have the best brains in the world, we should trust our brains. That's it.
No, well said, sir. Well said. So I would like to welcome Dr. Saggu on our show today on IBM TV. Dr. Saggu, we have Dr. Rahul Bahot from Mumbai, and he's a pulmonologist consultant at Jaslok Hospital.
Namaste, sir.
Hi, Dr. Rahul. Namaste, Dr. Rahul. How are you?
Last time you were receiving me, today I am receiving you, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Rahul. So, how is the condition in Mumbai?
See, मुंबई में कंडीशन का क्या कहना? मुंबई में कंडीशन का क्या कहना? वही सुबह वही शाम तो रोज होना. पेशेंट देखते देखते दिन निकल जाता है. शाम कब होती है नया सवेरा फिर आ जाता है. राइट. समय कैसे जा रहा है पता नहीं पड़ता. वातावरण को देख के मजा लेने का समय नहीं रहता. खुश रहते हैं देख के एक दूसरे के चेहरों को. दुआ करते हैं खुदा से ऐसे मिलते रहें सबके साथ. खुशियां फैलाते रहें.
वाह 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 वाह.
Well said, well said. आपकी बातों में सारी झलक हमें मिल गई हैं. दुख भी था, सुख भी था, खुशियां भी थी, गम भी था, और एक मजा भी था जो आप अभी फील कर रहे हैं हमसे बात करते हुए. But I think most you are a warrior, and I think that's what you are doing at this point of time.
डॉक्टर राहुल, इस तरह के जो मजे की जरूरत भी है अभी. So we should not be talking always about the COVID-19. We should be, entertaining ourselves also and the other family members also. It's a good humor.
गाना लिखा है मेरा नाम है कोरोना. Right. I'll share with you sometime later because today is the show time, right? I don't want to interrupt the show proceedings.
नहीं सर, बिल्कुल आप कहिए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. आज मूड में तो आज ही करते हैं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है.
बिल्कुल शो पे करते हैं ना आज.
शो पे कर रहा है. ठीक है, चलो. एक वायरस है जिसका नाम कोरोना, कहता है कुछ तो करो नहीं तो पड़ेगा रोना, यदि बाहों में मेरी पड़ो. एक वायरस है जिसका नाम कोरोना, कहता है कुछ तो करो. मुझसे बचने के लिए प्यारे अपने घर में तुम बंद रहो. एक वायरस है जिसका नाम कोरोना, कहता है कुछ तो करो. मुझे गंदगी भाती नहीं प्यारे, इसलिए गंदगी को तुम अपने से दूर रखो. एक वायरस है जिसका नाम कोरोना, कहता है थूका न करो. कोरोना योद्धा और सरकार का सम्मान तुम दिल से करो. करोगे सम्मान तो बचे रहोगे प्यारे, मेरे प्रकोप से तुम हर पल. अगर जो ये नहीं रहे प्यारे तो कहाँ जाओगे तुम भटकते इस वक्त एक वायरस है जिसका नाम कोरोना, कहता है कुछ तो करो नहीं तो पड़ेगा रोना, यदि बाहों में मेरी गिरो। एक वायरस है क्या जिसका नाम कोरोना, कहता है मुझसे सीखो प्रदूषण कम करो प्यारे, और सुंदर धरती को तुम देखो। एक वायरस है, एक वायरस है। I'm just developing this song, which covers all the aspects of it.
बिल्कुल
We should
नहीं, मैं it's a wonderful humor, Dr. Rahul. I must appreciate. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
सर मैं ऐसे आपको 2 लाइनें और इसमें ऐड करवा देता हूँ। कोरोना से डरो ना, बट हमें कोरोना से लड़ो ना वाला सिनेरियो और उसमें ऐड अप कर दो, तो आई थिंक वो
देखो उसको हमको कैसे करोगे। एक वायरस है जिसका नाम कोरोना,
कहता है मुझसे डरो,
पर मैं कहता हूँ डरना नहीं प्यारे, इससे तुम जम के तुम खूब लड़ाई करो। Right? You have to mix it with your team basically, dear.
Yeah.
I have developed 2-3 versions of the song. All the friends on our WhatsApp keep singing this song intermittently, encouraging
Oh,
each
that's
other.
good.
बिल्कुल
So that is the way we survive. See, Ankit, humor is important. Let me come again. Humor is important, but at the same time, when cracking a humor, loss
Yeah.
of attention is not desirable.
Follow the job.
Loss of attention is not desirable. Okay.
Yeah.
We crack humor, we do everything, but our focus and our attention is on the thing which we are at work.
True.
That's it, dear.
Well said.
And Ankit, can I tell you something very small, very simple? I've seen
Yeah.
a change in behavior. In my private practice, which is closed, my clinics are closed. People call me up on phone and they take over the treatment from me on phone. I don't charge them. Okay. To my surprise,
Yeah.
90 people call me after they saying, "Doctor साहब हम better हैं, आपका चार्ज हमको देना है, आप बताओ कितना देना।" मैं आपको बोलता हूँ यार एक महामारी का टाइम है, आपको जितना चाहिए उतना डाल दे दो, नहीं दिया तो भी चलेगा। But you know something, Ankit, people are willing to pay. People are being grateful.
Yeah.
They have an active gratitude, provided you give the right sort of advice to people.
Yeah, ठीक बात।
This is not a situation where we should cash upon the people's hard earnings, but rather show grace, show love.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Rahul, for all the insightful things.
Yeah, Dr. Rahul. So being
yes, Dr. Sabir.
Yeah, Dr. Rahul, being a surgeon, I must say that our exposure is very, very less with the COVID. So
Right.
We are not getting that much of exposure with the COVID patients. But hats off to you guys. As a pulmonologist, I think the maximum patients maybe you are looking after of COVID-19 patients. So, in Delhi, we just opened up our clinics and we have started doing surgeries also. Did yesterday also and today also we did surgeries. And what is the scenario in Mumbai? Are they have they started their surgeries or they are still waiting for that?
See, in Mumbai, the scenario is different because Mumbai, the density of population and the restrictions and the demanding population is more. If you see a Mumbai patient coming to your clinic, he has read 10 different journals when he comes to your clinic, right? So the kind of exposure which we have is demographically different. So here we are a bit cautious. The surgeries have started, but as a committee, we decides the appropriateness of the practice and surgery, and then a green signal is given for them to go ahead with it, right? And with regards to practice, I feel teleconsultation has helped us a lot, right?
Yeah.
And I prefer teleconsultation because, sir, आपको तो पता रहेगा. As you grow in years of experience, the history is the most important thing which tells you the diagnosis.
Yes,
तो बाद में diagnosis पहले हो जाता है, sir. बराबर.
हाँ, बिल्कुल.
99% of diagnosis is perfect before touching the patient. You just touch to confirm the diagnosis, right? So if we use our skills and trust them and trust our teachers who have taught us, we can do a splendid job, even with the closed clinics on online platforms. Right.
So I think that is the best way. I think even we are also doing the same way. We are doing the initial history taking and screening for the COVID of all the patients we are doing on telemedicine. And for the further maybe examination, maybe you have screened around 100 patients and you are calling around 30-40 patients out of them to your clinics. So the initial screening is definitely on telemedicine, and then we are calling to the patient for examination and further examination. And if the patient is for the surgery, then for the pre-anesthetic checkup and all of the things, then we are calling to the hospital, and then we are proceeding to the surgeries. So definitely in this era, we learned a lot about the telemedicine, and there are a lot of benefits of the telemedicine without touching a patient, just for the history. And when the patient comes to you in the clinic, you will not take that much of history which you take on telemedicine, because on
Yes.
telemedicine you can only take the history. So
Yeah.
you take a deep history. So I would definitely recall my residency days when we used to take the histories, and the same type of the history we are taking on telemedicine. So I mean, this is good also.
Can I add something? How I do it? How do
Yes,
I do
sir.
it to make life simpler for others? I
Yeah.
tell the patient my WhatsApp number पे अपने reports आपकी history brief में लिख के मुझे भेज दो. Right.
Hmm.
10 minutes prior, I will go to the reports history, whatever complaints he is there giving to me. Right. I'll make my
Yeah.
mental frame of view, and then I will call him on a video call. When I call him on a
Okay.
video call, I will speak only relevant things to that person. Right. And then I will note
Okay.
down again on my computer side screen. There's a recorder which will record the conversation, and I will read it there. Then I tell the patient at the end of things, I'll take half an hour. Okay, half an hour में आपको आपका prescription मिल जाएगा. Right.
Hmm.
In that half an hour, using our expertise and our experience, gathering the parts of history together. Right. See, because when you teach people, Ankit, it's very easy. You can manufacture a case sitting on the table. I'm sure
Yeah.
sir will
Yeah.
agree with me. Exam के
Yeah.
लिए
Yeah.
हमें कोई case बनाने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी. तो उससे
हाँ.
काम आसान हो जाता है. आप पेशेंट से मिनिमम
बिल्कुल.
कांटेक्ट में रहते हो, पेशेंट से टाइम ले
हाँ.
लेते हो पहले ही,
बिल्कुल. बिल्कुल.
10
बिल्कुल.
मिनट 15 मिनट दे दो, आराम से बना के दो. और मैं तो
बिल्कुल.
बोलूँ चार्ज बोलो भी मत पेशेंट को, मेरे इतने चार्जेस दे दो, क्योंकि पेशेंट जब ठीक
हाँ.
होता है ना तो
हाँ.
अंकित टेल योर पीपल
वो जो तसल्ली होती है ना. हाँ.
चार्ज आल्सो यार. So
नहीं, sir,
it is
बिल्कुल, I completely agree, sir. I'll tell you.
It's okay.
So,
Many
Dr.
people
Rahul,
don't.
I'll tell you, I have worked closely with Dr. Sagu. I think it's been more
Yes.
than 10 years, and I have
Yes.
never
Yeah.
seen taking money, not from
Yes.
me, but from patients. And
Yes.
Dr. Sagu and Mrs. Sagu, I mean, they both are doctors, and they have treated cancer patients from their pocket.
Yes. Yes. That
That's
is
what
a
I've-
very good answer.
It's not about
So
pandemic.
what?
It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
about
Whatever.
pandemic.
Yeah.
Generally,
Whatever we can do. Yeah. Whatever we can do. We should see our responsibilities also, and in spite of earning money, we have a lot of responsibilities, and we should fulfill all those responsibilities as well. So whatever we can do, up to what extent we can do, we should do that also.
And sir, I also tell you one more thing. I mean, because you are doctors, you must be having much more knowledge. But as a patient or as a user, what I'll tell you, whenever I recommend Dr. Sagu, everyone says that he's very strong. Because lot of doctors don't give you much amount of time. I'm sorry to
Yeah,
say, but
yeah.
it happens basically.
Yes.
And a lot of doctors, because of short amount of time, they don't listen to yourself, and that's why the patient is not getting satisfaction. But whenever someone visits Dr. Sagu, they have very satisfied. They are patiently, and also they think that Dr. Sagu is so strong they can handle it very well. That is the
Yeah.
feedback, Dr. Sagu. So because I have worked closely with Dr. Sagu, so I can I can say
Thank you,
that
sir. Yeah.
once I meet you, maybe
Sir, आपने मुझे encourage किया
Yeah,
आज
thank-
ये कहकर.
But Dr.
Yeah,
Rahul,
thank you.
yourself. I tell you, because a lot of our viewers are have watching you. This is the second time. The viewers are seeing that you have that power to. You are trying to control the situation in different ways, and that is what the viewers wants to know, that how you do it and what kind of insight strength you have, so that you are humorous, you are doing songs, and also you are focusing on your agenda to treat the COVID patients at this point of time. Because as Dr. Sabu said, pulmonologists are in the front runners, right?
Yeah. Ankit, thank you so much for your kind words. And I would here mention one thing here, that the first impression is always the last impression for everybody. It is not only for the doctors, but especially for the doctors. When the patient comes to your clinic first time, and that is the time when you have to, learn a lot of things about the patient, and the patient is also observing you.
Yeah.
Because he also wants to make a trust in you. He also want to build up some faith in you. So the first interaction is always as a last, impression. So you should give at least around half an hour to the patient, so you can listen to the patient, and patient also listen to you. So that is very important. And here I would like to mention about Dr. Rahul also, because I met him. This is the second time. So I think he must be giving a lot of time to the patients also, and because of his humor. So the attachment of Dr. Rahul with the patients would be very good. That assessment I can make.
No,
Thank you
certainly.
so much, sir.
I'll share one more study. So there was a doctor, Dr. Arthur Apollinario from North Carolina, and he's a family physician. So he was
Yeah.
there on our show, and he was discussing that he was a neurosurgeon earlier, but
Yeah.
why he shifted from neurosurgery to family physician is because when you do a neurosurgeon, you operate a patient, and then you will never be able to meet that patient again, because after
Yeah.
surgery, that patient is not coming back, and he wants
Hmm.
to have good relation, and he wants to see the patient again and again. So he shifted from neurosurgery to family physician, and that's why he's connected with the patient regularly. And while doing it, he realized that he needs to also learn about hypnotizing the patient, because during hypnotization he can do a lot of get things done from the patient, and that is what he's following in America, in North Carolina, and he's very happy doing it. Especially he's working
I'm
with a lot of
sorry.
kids.
I'm sorry, Ankit.
So
I'm coming back on this. You do not need to hypnotize your patients. Number one,
yes,
if your
yes, yes. That is the
your
point.
attitude is good, your patient will tell you everything on its own. Okay, my
Okay.
consultation
Yes.
lasts for 40 minutes to 1 hour. In 90% of times, my patients keep talking, they cry. मेरे टेबल पे रोते हैं, खाते हैं, हंसते हैं, कॉफी पीते हैं, खाना खाते हैं मेरे टेबल पे और जाते हैं. I don't see a lot of patients, Ankit, in my clinic, but
Sir,
whoever I see,
If you are able to make a connect with your patient, if
right,
you are able to make a connect with your patient tells you everything about him also, and after some times they discuss their family problems also, because
that is trouble come. Right.
they build up a lot of faith in the doctor. So this
no,
Yes.
no,
is
I completely
you.
agree, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to reframe it. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about hypnotization, but so the case scenario is that a lot of kids are watching their Cartoon Network, and they came
Yeah. Yeah.
across channels and a lot of junk food stuff. So when they
Okay.
visit Dr. Arthur, so Dr. Arthur tried to use a therapy to unlearn those, junk food, and let them eat a lot of healthy food. That is what they are
Yeah.
practicing in America.
Not
That
required
may be good
again.
policy.
Again, not required. I'll tell you why. If you have a good connect with your patient, your doctor Sabuji will agree to me. You say a word and the patient will follow it as a gold standard. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Say a word and patient will take it blankly. But that connect you need to have with your patients. Okay.
Yeah.
So it does work. You don't need hypnotism. You need to
No,
have
I
good
know
faith.
that. Sir, see, I'm not in.
And
I'm the
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, no,
purified.
And
I'm trying to tell you is this is a live show. This is a live
and
show,
He was sharing a couple of
and many
examples
people are
of
listening to us on
kids.
this.
He was sharing a
Many
couple of
people are
examples with
listening to us,
kids. He
right?
was sharing with people who do smoke basically. So how
Yeah,
you can let people don't smoke? So these
yeah.
kind of practices he follow with those patients basically.
Yeah, Ankit, let me tell you honestly, I'm not against him practicing. He can practice whatever he wants in UK. We're just sharing with us. But for the benefit of the viewers, I want to tell this thing. All such methods are not required, basically, in
Okay.
today's world. There's so
Yeah.
much of information with us, and there's so much of good things we can do, right, sir? You'll agree to this.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
knowledge
Yeah.
we can share
So
that
each
अरे
and
hypnotization से तो
yeah.
छोड़ दो यार, ऐसे ही तो हो जाता है patient आपके भी साथ.
Each and every field is very important. Whether you
Yeah.
are a neurosurgeon, you are a pediatric surgeon, you are a gastrosurgeon, you are a pulmonologist, you are a dermatologist. So if you deliver your more than 100%, if you are able to make a connect with your patient, I think you can serve people each and every field, and you have to be expert of that field. You
Right.
should know each and everything about that field.
Yes.
There is no need to jump to another field. I think you can serve the people very nicely in the same field.
I agree to sir that we can serve the people best in our field. Like respiratory,
Yeah. Yeah.
मुझे
Yeah.
नींद में भी अगर पेशेंट पूछेगा तो मुझे पता है मुझे क्या करना है. सर को
Yes.
सर के
Yes.
ब्रांच में कोई पूछे तो उनको पता है उनको क्या करना है. There are so many people
बिल्कुल.
like us, right?
Yeah.
We need to just be positive. That's it in this situation.
And also, sir, I would like to know that post-COVID, if we talk about the future of healthcare, do you see technology or artificial intelligence will change the healthcare while dealing with the doctors, or maybe doctors are utilizing a lot of AI on their day-to-day work?
Okay, coming to AI question, Ankit, AI can only tell you what is fed in this algorithm.
Yeah.
Very specific. There are algorithms. There's a look for AI, thinking look for AI, which algorithm this values it assembles, and it comes out with an answer for you, right? If the person who has fed the loop has fed it well, then you have possibilities of getting a good answer. If there's a mistake in any of the algorithmic things, or if for small amount of instance, let me tell you, because I'm also a technocrat geek. A cockroach comes in and it's puts urine on your exit on your computer system.
Yeah.
Your system goes for a toss, sir. And then you find all illogical gizmos coming out. Rather than trusting the artificial intelligence, see, artificial intelligence to be used when we are overworked,
Yeah.
when we don't have time, right? We want a quick remedy. But my personal feeling is, खुद के दिमाग पे भरोसा रखो. खुदा ने एक अच्छा दिमाग दिया आपको, और ऊपर वाले पे भरोसा रखो, सब सही हो जाएगा.
No, but sir, I completely agree. But I think that when you talk about large amount of data around the world, you need to have some solution so that you can and
I agree with you on that front. A large amount of data need to be segregated and need to come to a conclusion. But
Yeah.
artificial intelligence still what thing? Now here's a question which I want to put to you, because I am also associated with the partly a project called Jarvis, which is an artificial intelligence project.
Okay.
If you induce a self-learning loop in this artificial intelligence, man, you cannot control it. Self-learning loops. You're getting it. The machine tries to learn on its
I get
own,
it.
and
I got
it
it.
gathers it on its own, right? So it's our responsibility as individuals to restrict for our existence on this planet. Maybe what I'm talking is far-fetched for some people, some viewers, but it is not far-fetched for many people in the branch which is dealing with artificial intelligence.
So I'll tell you, I am a technology entrepreneur, and
Yes,
I'm
sir.
doing course more than 10, 12 years. And when you
Yes,
talk
sir.
about artificial intelligence, there are different ways and fields to do it.
Yes,
My
yes.
concern right now is that everyone has a lot of data, including you,
Right.
including Dr. Saggu, including all these
Yes.
hospitals around the world. But are
Yes.
we utilizing the data in a manner so that we can treat our patients, or maybe we can treat our next patient? I'm not saying you are not doing it, but I think we can do it in a much better, appropriate manner.
Uh,
It will be easy for us to.
yeah, we can do
Yeah,
it in a,
I think we can increase the number of the publications using that data.
yes,
So because
yes,
earlier,
yes.
suppose a lot of things were we have huge data, but that data we have not been managed systematically, and we have not make a lot of publications from that data. So
Yeah.
this time is teaching us to review the data, to review the
Yes.
other publication, and to use that data for the publication. So
Right.
I think the post-COVID era, so we would like to have a lot of publications there. The research work will also go on, and we would be doing more teleclinics, and we would be doing more tele meetings. So the telemeetings and the teleclinics will going to save us a lot of time, and that time we can use for the research work and for the publication.
But
Very, very well said.
एक सवाल है आपसे. टेली मीटिंग, टेली क्लिनिक अप्रिशिएटेड, और जो एक दूसरे को फेस टू फेस मिलने का मजा है वो कुछ और है सर.
Bilkul initial screening, for the initial screening, and maybe because 100% patient doesn't need you for the
Yes,
second
yeah.
visit,
Yes,
right?
yes, you are
So
absolutely right. Absolutely.
yeah, you can screen your 40 to 50% patients who needs a second visit, and that second visit would be in-person visit. So initially you can have a screening. So yeah.
Right.
And also, sir, and also with artificial intelligence, or maybe with the data, we can also create a lot of programs and policies so that we can prevent the disease happening. We are not working on the prevention as of now, and that is what a lot of data involved. I'll tell you,
this will
Dr. Saggu
this will
knows
help you to this will help you to make a lot of protocols, to make a lot of guidelines. That is true.
Because I
That is
think if
true.
we start working on the prevention, that is what we are doing right now on the COVID situation.
Yeah.
We try to prevent ourselves. I think we will be in a good manner, and I think it will be helpful for doctors as well to treat the patients in a much more appropriate manner.
Ankit, to tell you some positive point, artificial intelligence is of very good help for all of us, especially emergency physicians or critical care people, where the SOFA scoring and all the scorings are required for the people, right? So yes, hats off to artificial intelligence. It's a very good tool to us, provided we use it in a proper way.
No, I completely agree.
Thank you.
Sir, I have one more question, which is asked by a lot of our viewers, especially in US, that we are doing a lot of research at the institution level, at the hospital level, at the ICMR and NHIs and things like that around the world. But when the patient first meets to a family physician or a clinic nearby. Are we doing any research at the clinic level so that the clinic doctors will share their information to the institute.
To be honest, Ankit, if your question is to be taken, see, research is a time given apart from your clinical practice. A primary care physician in India, जो GP है, on an average is 200 patients in 4 hours. Okay, you tell me, Ankit, is it feasible for that physician or that person to gather data of such people unless he deploys somebody at the same time? You know, but in the West, where the countries you're talking, they are more institutionalized countries. They're more institution-based practice. They're hospitals for one syndrome itself, like interstitial pulmonary fibrosis. They are hospital ही बना दिया है. That is not in our case scenario. But what we have to tell is data is there. Data
Yeah.
is there, but good teachers are rare. Unless you have good teachers to help you to interpret data well and apply it clinically, and bring a smile and make something from worthless to worthwhile, it's of no point. All your research.
Dr. Sagu, what do you think? Sir, you need to unmute. Dr. Sagu, you need to unmute.
So when we talk about the research, I think there are 3 stages. There is a stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. Yes, if you talk about the family physicians, that is a stage 1. So they are the collector of the data. They collect the data, right? And then comes the stage 2. Stage 2 is the publication. Then that data that goes to a specific department. Then departments do, they do the publications and all, right? And then stage 3 is an ICMR level, or you can the research peer research level. So they do the review of that publication and the data, and they do the research. So there are specific scientists who can do the research. Family physician and the surgeons, they cannot do the research. They can provide data in the publication, and that publication is being reviewed by the scientists at the research center, and they do the research. The same thing happens in the West also. The family physician, they are not the member, or they're not the member of the research team. They are the base level members. They are just to collect the data, and that data is being collected there and systemized. They being published over there, and that publication being reviewed by the researchers, and then the research, they do the research. So this is a very systematic way the research is being done.
Right. I agree with
Sir,
that.
do you think we need to create more innovation, or maybe
Yes.
maybe to improvise that research? But I am not sure you have more knowledge that research can be done in a more appropriate manner.
Yeah. Because we have a problem. We Indians have lot of data, but we don't have a publications.
Yeah.
Our mind is not oriented for the publications. So now there are a lot of bodies has already been made for the obesity surgery, also for the cancer surgery, for gastro surgeries, for physicians, for pulmonologists, dermatologists. So every field has their own bodies. Now they what they are doing, they are stressing upon the publications. Now a lot of surgeons, the physicians, and the pulmonologists, they are working on the publications. So once this publication is being started over there, I think we can contribute to the research work of India.
Ankit, just to tell you, if publication researches are the guidelines and everything set apart, the COVID pandemic has proved to the world, okay, the kind of healthcare that exists in this country. Despite the best of the resources, we don't have. Best of the minds, we don't have. Let us take it. We don't have, right? But still, the minds which we have are good enough to control something which is uncontrollable elsewhere, right? And the kind of synchrony which we have is fabulous, sir. So Ankit, coming to the point is an Indian physician thinks of lot many ways. वो जुगाड़ू होता है, वो हर चीज को उठा लेकर आ जाता है अपने पेशेंट के बेनिफिट, जो बाहर के फिजिशियंस नहीं करते कभी. अपने फिजिशियन के को देखने का नजरिया बदलो, बराबर. अपने हमें चाहिए पेशेंट को, हमें देखने का नजरिया बदले तो फिर वो देखेगा कि क्या है हम. इसके लिए आपकी मीडिया का बहुत हेल्प चाहिए हमको, क्योंकि वी हैव टू प्रोटेक्ट गुड थिंग्स ऑफ practice which are being followed. Many times, like my seniors, which I've learned with, have given the salaries for patients. Yeah, so good things have to be followed.
And I would like to invite Dr. Vineet Talwar,
Yes,
the senior director at Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Hospital. Dr. Talwar.
हाँ जी,
can you
good
say
evening.
something about yourself?
Namaste, good evening, Dr. Talwar.
good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. How is it going in Rajiv Gandhi Hospital, and especially in Delhi?
Well, many times people confuse my hospital with the Rajiv Gandhi Super Specialty Hospital, which is in Timarpur. So
Okay.
ours is the Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Institute, which is in Rohini. So as far as we
RGCI.
are concerned, yeah, RGCI, we are a niche cancer center, and unlike the other general hospitals, we are taking care of only cancer patients. And of course, nowadays we are doing active screening for the COVID patients also.
And sir, how is
So,
the situation?
see, situation is that we come across patients who turn out to be COVID positive. So, depending upon the risk stratification, we send them to the COVID centers, and once they get better, then we continue the treatment. And as all of us know, that patients who have cancer, they have high propensity to develop severe signs and symptoms of COVID. So that keeping in mind, we are very aggressive in screening these patients. So any patient who's for elective surgery, we are doing the COVID-19 testing. Any patient who's going for procedures like biopsies or endoscopies or bronchoscopies, where the uh, there can be a aerosol generation
Yeah.
and can be harmful for the person who's doing the procedure. All these areas are the ones where we take extra precautions. Most of the patients nowadays, so-called patients, are coming asymptomatic. In fact, if you go by the statistics, about 60% of the patients are asymptomatic. So one has to be really wary whenever we are seeing the patients in the OPD or otherwise, whether they undergo chemotherapy or surgery.
And sir, also,
Yeah.
what cancer patient should know at this point of time during COVID? I mean, what are the things they need to know and to protect themselves because they must be coming for chemotherapies and for other treatments on day-to-day basis, maybe alternate days. So, what are the precautions or measures, or what are the information they need to know at this point of time?
See, there are no specific signs and symptoms which they have to look for, because they are going to be the same in a COVID patient or if it's a cancer patient with COVID.
Okay.
The other thing is that in cancer patients specifically, they have to maintain good hygiene. Point number one. Second, they have to have good hydration. You know, especially when the temperatures are now soaring, they should have adequate intake of water, preferably about 1.5 to 2 liters per day. And third, of course, is good nutrition, because you treat a cancer patient who has a poor nutrition vis-a-vis you treat a patient who's in good nutrition. Definitely, the person who's with the good nutrition will fare much better. Apart from that, you have plethora of small studies in which some people have said that vitamin C is much better. Some people have said that addition of selenium and zinc in the diet is much better for cancer patients, or flavoprenols. And some people have said that vitamin D, if the intake is there, that keeps COVID at bay. But all those, if the randomized trials are not there, one should take them with a pinch of salt. Suffice to say, these three dictums one has to follow if one is a cancer patient. And definitely, whenever there is even a small fever, say 99 or 100, even a single spike,
Yeah.
as compared to a normal individual who's immunocompetent, cancer patients, they should immediately report to their centers where they're getting treatment. And we should take stock whether it is, normal flu-like infection or any bacterial infection, or, it is a COVID infection which is brewing up in the patients.
So can I ask you a question, sir?
Yeah.
A general question to Vinith, sir.
Yes.
So basically, you deal with a lot of cancer patients. They are all immunocompromised because of chemotherapy or stuff like that, right? So what happens is, like, we depend upon nasal swabs for diagnosis as pulmonologist and HRCT chest picture, which shows a viral pneumonia sort of a picture, right? Because most of our patients are immunocompetent. But the similar picture can be even seen in immunocompromised host, which you guys deal with. So how is that you come to a diagnosis that could be COVID and this could not be COVID? So because the nasal swabs are only positive 66% of times. That is 34 people will be still be diagnosed as negative in right or they being positive. So is there an algorithm which you have made or a scoring system which you have made by which you come to a diagnosis, or how do you do it, sir? The challenging thing, sir.
See, your question is very valid because you have a patient who already has a compromised lung, and on top of that, you have a malignancy. So, how you go about it? And on top of that, what we say in Hindi, "Sone pe suhaga," you have COVID. So, how do you go about assessing these people? Well, first is we take a detailed history,
Right, sir.
and we take a history in which if the patient has had any contacts with any patients who are COVID patients, or patient is in a hotspot, or the patient has had fever in the recent past. These things are there. If any one of them is there, then what we do is we do the pulse oximetry, because in the initial phase, all the COVID patients, they have a oxygen desaturation, which
Yeah, absolutely.
in many times may be asymptomatic only. But then
Sure.
once the storm comes, then they rapidly deteriorate.
Right.
So we check the temperature, we see the physical condition of the patient, we do the oxygen saturation by pulse oximetry, we do the chest X-ray,
Yes.
and after that, when we get this basic data, we have a infectious diseases physician who's specifically dedicated for all the infectious diseases. We
Right.
bring that person into the loop, and if still we have doubt, as you said, that we bring in our pulmonary team. But then in almost 80% of times, with this kind of infrastructure and SOPs, we are able to, sift out, we're able to segregate which patients may be, possible COVID patients and which patients won't be. And then after that, even after that, we don't leave them alone. We have isolation wards. We immediately shift these patients from the triage to the isolation wards. We don't take them to the normal wards because they are
Right.
the clean areas. And in isolation wards, immediately we send the COVID test. After sending the COVID test, after say about 24 to 36 hours, if the test comes negative and the patient is clinically improving, and the patient does not have any desaturation or symptoms of fever or respiratory deterioration, we shift them out of the isolation wards. But if we still have any doubt, we keep them there, and after say about 4 or 5 days, again we repeat the test just to be doubly sure, even if
Right.
they are negative. 2 times negative, then of course there's a limit to which you can keep on testing for COVID. Then that is the time we shift the patient out and we treat them like regular cancer patients.
So there has been a study which shows that the salivary samples are
Are
more
better.
specific,
Are
better,
better. Yes,
better.
yes,
Do
yes.
you
Yeah.
want to implement that in your cancer patient? Because in cancer patient to get a sample is itself a difficult job, right? To get a
Well,
pure sample.
see, there are lot of problems, lot of practical problems when you go about taking samples. You have to make sure that your technical staff or the technicians who take these samples, they are also well versed with taking saliva samples. How
Right.
much to take, when to take, whether the patient should be fasting or not. Most of the technicians who take these samples, they are quite well versed with the throat swab. So, so that comes as a practical challenge. But yes, studies are now showing that saliva is definitely better.
Right.
And of course, it is easier also. But then there is a learning curve. You have to teach your staff that,
Right.
at this point of time becomes a challenge when you are, doing firefighting.
Right. So, can I ask you another question? Being an oncological unit, there was a study from China, Wuhan, which showed the concentration of viruses in the hospital area. Right? They found the maximum concentration of virus on the mouse of the ICU, led to a lesser degree on the floor of the ICU, but the pharmacy had the 100% swabs coming positive. Is there a way where you can deploy UVC lamps? Because so you deal closely with radiation technology, so I'm asking you. Is there a way where I can deploy UVC lamps, far light lamp at 222 nanometers to achieve environmental sterilization? Because what I feel in my personal experience is hospitals are becoming secondary niders for community outbreaks
Yeah.
of COVID.
No, that is again a very interesting question. What we are doing is, you know, you have to think everything in totality. You can't just
Yes.
go by the book. So, do in Rome as Romans do in India as Indians do. So, what we are doing is we are spraying hypochlorite.
Hmm.
You have to identify areas which are at a maximum risk, and studies have shown that the walking tunnels,
Yes.
the
Yes.
areas, the walkways which are narrow, they are the ones which harbor the maximum virus.
Mhm.
So the pathways, which are narrower than say about 8 feet, and
Yeah.
people are going through that, we are spraying that with hypochlorite solution every 2 hourly,
Hmm.
irrespective.
Oh.
So we have identified those walkways where the patient movement is maximum, and it has been seen, the patient movement is maximum in OPD areas, and wherever you have alleys and corridors which are narrow, they are given maximum, you know, thought. And of course, the areas where OPDs are there, testing areas are there, labs are there. There also we keep on spraying hypochlorite, and there are dedicated ward boys which keep on scrubbing the most common handrails, grab rails after every 4 to 5 hours. Even in our OPDs, I make sure that there is a chap with a mop who keeps on mopping almost,
Yep.
because by the time he finishes from one end of the OPD to the other side, it is almost 1 or 2 hours. And
Oh.
then again, we have told him that after every 4 hours, you have to mop again. So the another chap starts from the other side. So, do in India as Indians do. That is what we are trying to do. Because UV, of course, that is a good thought, but then practical feasibility is a big problem. So spraying, hypochlorite is not that costly. It's about seven, eight
Yeah.
hundreds to a liter, and you have to make it in a dilution. So that is the
Mhm.
cheapest way to go about it.
Yeah. Here I would like to add on that
Yes.
what we are doing, we are mopping the table, sofa, and the patient bed after each and every patient in OPD. After each and every patient, we are just there is a one guy who is doing the same. This is only he's only for the mopping, and he's spraying the hypochlorite and mopping with the hypochlorite. The
Hmm.
patient bed, patient sofa, and the doctor's table.
Right.
So we are doing that, but apart from that, we are mopping the floors also, and
Yeah,
Yes, that's
because
the
important.
that is 2 hourly. Floors are 2 hourly. Yeah.
and the examination couch which is there. We are not using the standard sheets. In the daycare wards, we are using those,
Paper
disposable
sheet.
paper sheets,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Even we are also using a paper sheets.
they come very economical. You get it in bulk, you get a good quotation.
Yes.
So, you have to improvise whichever way. You can't go
Yeah.
by what the Western literature says.
Yeah.
Right.
India is 1.3 billion, and even if you talk of metros, you're talking of 10% of the whole. So
Right.
10% of 1.3 billion is equivalent to 6 7 European countries.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can't
Uh,
extrapolate that to the Indian scenario.
so agreed totally to you, sir, on the methods of it. But a UVC lamp, this what like a thought came to my mind. If you deploy them in areas of high concentration, far light UVC lamps, it is you get rid of the person who is going to mop your floor, because the person who's going to mop your floor is going to become more infected one point or the other time of them. You cannot have you 100% protection rate every time. So to save that person's life, a lamp, okay, you just have to install a bulb and just leave it at that. It is. So because I thought of this idea, because if we don't think tangentially and we don't think out of the box, out of tradition, the rate at which COVID is growing right now in our country is on a log phase, sir. It's an upright curve still. We have yet to reach the peak, and rainy season is approaching, sir. So how effective will our methods be of mopping and everything in the rains? Because they all will go for a toss, sir, in a larger
I
scale.
think
So
I
that's the
think
thing.
we have to change our thinking,
Right.
thought process. And first thing which should come into the mind is that every patient which is coming to you in the OPD is a suspect
Mhm.
COVID patient,
COVID patient, right, sir.
until another taken otherwise.
Yes.
because most of these patients are asymptomatic. So if you
Right.
have that thought process in mind, automatically
Yes,
your
sir.
SOPs will go accordingly.
Yes, sir.
Then, of course, as a policy decision, you can say whether you want to use hypochlorite, you want to use ultraviolet, whether you want to use disinfectants, or you want to use any other kind of, antiviral or a germicide dull drug. That is up to you. But
Yes.
till the time you don't change your mindset, nothing is going to happen.
Right.
And I think that we need to follow this mindset for a long period of time because COVID will
Right.
stay here. And if we have a vaccine, maybe in next 6 months, 6 to 8 months, still we have to follow these precautions, which is self distancing, physical distancing, and following the washing hands and using sanitizers and maybe wearing a mask. Mask could be unnecessary. So I think we have to follow all these things. But as all doctors are on panel right now, you are the front runners and all our viewers would like to know that they are wearing N95 masks and they are wearing different masks.
Hmm.
So, how important is to change your mask and how important is to protect your mask so that you can use it? I mean, maybe 4 or 5 times, not more than that, because people are tend to use the same mask again and again. They are not following the pattern of changing the mask.
Uh, Ankit, if to answer your question of N95 mask, each mask has a shelf life recommended by the manufacturer. N95 mask without a valve has a shelf life of 4 to 6 hours, and with a valve, the shelf life increases to 12 hours. Now, it is very difficult to spend 4 or 500 rupees every day to
Yeah.
get a new mask, right? Which is difficult for us. I will tell you what my friends in the US do. That they have a lot of bulk patients coming in. They wear an N95 mask. About that, they wear a surgical mask, and about that, they wear a paper mask.
Okay.
Okay, what is changed is the paper mask, and there are 5 masks kept in a row, and each mask 1 day is sent for UV sterilization, and one mask is used after every 5 days. This is the way they have rotated the masks successfully well, and since the time of pandemic which has happened in US, till date none of them have got infected with COVID, which tells me that their mask rotation policy somewhat we have to adapt to ourselves. We have to rotate our masks. We don't have to keep wearing the same mask again and again. But after a particular period of time, we can reuse the mask. After it's left to some treatment or UV light ethylene oxide treatment, or just left to dry in the sun. Because the virus dies at different rates on different surfaces, which I spoke to you in the first interview.
I think I would agree with Dr. Rahul as he's saying. We are also following the same policy. 5 masks, and I personally, what I do is the time I take it out, I leave it out in the sun,
Right.
auto sanitation.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, depending upon the days I keep on using it, I use it 4 times, and fifth time I discard it.
Right.
After 4 or 5 times, it is not advisable to use it. So if you have 5 masks, generally about say 3 weeks you can use it. And again, it depends that you don't necessarily have to wear a N95 mask everywhere. If you
Hmm.
are in a COVID hospital, yes, 100%. If you are in
Right.
a non-COVID hospital, and if you are in a low risk area, I mean, if you are in the OPD or you are just in the lab, then a 3-ply surgical mask can suffice, but that is disposable. You cannot use it again. You have to throw it off. And the moment you find that your mask is getting wet with the humidity or something,
Yes.
or there are some dirt or something, then immediately you have to discard it. You cannot use it in N95 or otherwise. And if you're in a high risk area, say OPDs where the patient interaction is there, then you make sure the distance is about 1.5 to 2 meters. Initially, we used to
Yes.
say 1 meter, but now
Yeah.
it is about 2 meters.
2 meters.
Although there are studies, which show that the aerosol can travel about 20
4.
to 24 feet.
Oh.
You know, there are studies, but then the general idea is 2 meters. So 2 meters distancing, you can wear a 3-ply mask, you can discard it, or you wear a N95. You have the 5 masks, as Dr. Rahul said, and then you keep on rotating it. And of course, the interaction time should not be more than 4 to 5 minutes.
Yes.
And if possible, don't examine. If you think there is a great need, then you have a partial PPE, a disposable gown, and you have a N95 mask and a visor. Examine the patient, and you have to, there should be a duffing and doffing. You have to throw that, all the mask and the PPE, and again change the cap and the mask to see the next patient. And between each and every patient, it is always better if you have soap and water.
Yes.
It is always preferable to the hand rub,
Right.
because hand rub has its own
Adverse
utility
effect.
time.
Yes. And to add to what Sir said, like, it is very good to what Sir said, to use a soap and water, because soap and
Yeah.
water is the most effective thing. Time limit is 30 seconds. Again, I stress on it, because there's a data which shows using soap and water for 30 seconds. Proper handle, it minimizes the risk of transmission, right? That's a very good thing which we can practice and you can follow there.
No, sir, very
And
well
we
said.
add, when you have a bunch of masks, I
Yeah.
found it out myself. Please cut one mask from a random bunch and see what is there inside it. I found a tissue paper instead of N95 layer in one of the masks.
Oh my God!
So,
And that was
that
a Indian
common
mask or
step.
a imported mask?
A tissue.
Now to be honest to you, imported masks we don't have much access to. They're very expensive. We always use the local made masks available to us, whatever the institute gives us. But we do have a policy that whatever the mask will pick it up at random, cut it, open it, and check it for ourselves what is there inside it.
So good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, good
My
afternoon.
apologies for being so late. I just got back from my first doctor's appointment in 2 months. They figured out I needed my treatments, and so they worked me in. It was quite a journey, an experience too, because I just want to share it with you on how things have changed. But from the moment I arrive in my car, my vehicle, I stay parked outside. They come out to me and they interview me. They're all masked, PPE, and everything. And then I follow them in and I wash my hands at the door, or that one layer of the door. They have 2 layers.
Yeah.
And so I do my hands and get a mask. And like Dr. Sagoo taught us how to wear it, they want me to wear blue out. So
Yeah.
I put it on and wash my hands again. And then we go to another door. And then I do my regular check-in where they weigh me and they put my bands on and stuff like that. But it's very hard because it's hard to speak through this, right? And you could tell they're having a hard time communicating with us, but they do this very well because they're experienced. So, but every time we touch something, they tell us to wash to gel our hands. But every time we touch something, if we touch a door, wash your hands. If we go into a room and they put the meters on our oxygen meters on our fingers and everything, because they do our vitals, wash your hands. It was interesting to do my temperature because they still do it under the tongue with a mask. So I was expecting a scanner, but they still use the regular thermometer. But after all of that, my treatments went normal. So we did everything went normal, except when I was done, they could not do any prescriptions. This was just flow in and out. And I exited out of a door I never even knew existed. And I've been in and out of that building for years, and I thought I knew every door until today. And I couldn't believe it. And they go, "Oh no, we can't have risk of any patients bumping into each other at all." So I found out that there's another back door, and it exits out to actually my favorite place, which is they have a big, beautiful water pond and picnic area back there. So, but I've never gone that way before. So anyway, that was my experience, a new experience with the doctors. They asked me how I learned to wash my hands properly. They go, "Kim, you've become an expert." And I go, "Watch my show. Watch our show. We have Dr. Sagoo and everyone." So they taught us how to, yeah. Dr. Sagoo taught us how to do that and wear the mask. So, so I was considered an expert today, and I was happy. So, And I'm happy because I got my treatments. I feel better. So
it was due.
So Kim, we were discussing the same thing with Dr. Vipin and Dr. Pulmonologist Dr. Rahul from Mumbai and from Delhi. So the same thing we were discussing how our OPD has changed now, what the policies and SOPs we have changed regarding our OPDs, IPDs, and OTs also. So I think the same screening program is also running in our hospitals, in our clinics also here. The same thing, we are receiving the patients from outside and we are screening the patients there. And inside the OPD also, we are doing disinfecting all the surfaces after each and every patient. Yeah, we are asking the patient to wash the hands, and even we are also washing our hands after each and every patient. So
Yeah.
the same, yeah.
No, it's it's interesting because I didn't know what to expect. I have not been to any of my physicians at all since, and actually the doctors inside the building, they don't know what's going on out there. I have a very good rapport with my doctor and physician. She's been treating me for many, many years, and my disease is so rare. She's really always taken particular interest in. And then so she asked me, "What is it like out there?" And I told her, and she goes, "I had no idea they're meeting you at the car." She goes, "Oh my gosh!" So interesting enough, because, and I don't know if it's like this in your country, but we have a really bad problem with drug dealers and drug people. And this is considered a pain clinic, even though I get treated for other things, neurological problems. They have a armed guard in the lobby at all times because they have drug dealers come in with guns and try to steal the medication from the clinics. So, and he's still there, but he's got a mask on now. So,
yeah. So that is why now this is the global village. We are speaking the same language. Each and every person from every part of the globe, we are speaking the same thing. We are following the same policy. We are doing the same thing. I think this is the first time in all of the world this corona has, brought us in the global village.
The global village, we're one now. And this is something, I think I was texting a question while I was driving and listening. I wasn't driving and texting. I stopped at a red light. But my journey is an hour. So that's why it took me so long. But anyway, I wanted to know, what can we do globally to connect? Because it seems like, everybody's doing these common practices. I'm sure the WHO is sharing information. I don't feel like they shared it very well, or CDC shared it very well in the beginning, but maybe somehow we can connect data and information globally so that we can continue to operate without ever having to close down again when this happens, because this will happen again. This another virus will attack us again. Is that your thoughts, Dr. Segoo?
Yeah, at least we should be ready to fight against any type of the outbreak. At least we should strengthen our healthcare. What was lacking behind us, as we were not investing on the healthcare. So at least now we will start to invest in the healthcare globally. I'm talking about the globally also, in India also, because our focus is not on the healthcare. Our focus is on other things. So I think we would be investing in healthcare, and definitely we would have a power to fight against the type of the outbreaks.
No, I agree with you. Some of the interesting things is that I learned today too is that we had 30 more new deaths reported in just our state, not the whole country. I'll have to pull up the country, but given that, and I think that's a high number for a small state, and they've not really disclosed to us how many people have been tested positive, but they've decided to continue reopening. And so they will be reopening this evening at 5:00. So where we closed down 5:00 on Friday, maybe a month ago, close to 45 days ago, they are reopening this evening, which I think is kind of stupid because all the bars are going to be open. Everybody's going to be drunk and crazy. And, I think our infectious rate's going to go up like this, and maybe they're doing that on purpose to teach us a lesson. I don't know. But they're opening Friday night. Like, what is your opinion of that, Dr. Rahul? What is your opinion? You laughed. What's your opinion? It's funny, yeah.
Kim, we have reached up to that stage of the COVID-19 now. We cannot have a check on the infections. We cannot check the infectivity rate. I mean, a lot of people, they are going to become positive now. Becoming positive for the COVID-19 is not a dangerous, but having a severe complications because of the COVID-19 is a worry. So what we can do, we can control only the death rates. If we can control the death rates, at least we are bringing down that fatality rate. So that is the only thing we can control. Infection will go on in the next few months. You will see a lot of people, they're going to be infected.
No, I think we're going to see that. So many people are pushing to reopen. They said that the economic situation that we're dealing with doesn't compare. That they feel like the deaths are worth the economic situation because they keep saying it's such a low death rate, and I go, that's so rude. That's just that's not humane. I don't know how you doctors feel about it, but I just don't think it's humane. I know that you are to expect deaths with every flu we have, every kind of disease we have out there. There's an expected ratio of death, but to know that we can prevent this in some scalable model for a while, just for a while, we should take those precautions. But they're not even exercising precautions. There are no rules in our reentry. I have not heard one rule of wear a mask. Not heard one. And wash hands. Wash hands. I do that. I have my gel. I am like OCD, right? So I'm gonna have this with me everywhere I go. This sprays. I'll get some sprays. But right now, I'm not going anywhere other than this was my first trip out, and I went to the doctor's, and I went to the store last night because we had to go to the store. But I literally, it's been almost a month, and not even the store. I didn't even go to the store because I knew that the virus was going to be really climbing higher, faster. But I was shocked at the people not wearing masks. Mm-hmm. Even when I got to the doctor's office, I had a mask on, and they laughed at me, and then they gave me their mask. They wanted me to wear their mask. But I would drive by and see people coming in and out of stores, no masks, no. It was shocking. I don't think people are going to have good practices, at least not in America. What's it like in your country? Is your country got the practices down?
Yeah, they are following the practices, good practices. Everybody is wearing masks. That is good. But the problem is that we have some categories like laborers are there, and they are having very difficulties regarding their shelter, regarding their food. So that is why they are migrating from one place to another place en masse. And that time they are not following the principles of the social distancing also. And for our surprise, 2 days before, our government has opened up the liquor shops also. And because the liquor shops, there are long and long queues are there, and those people, they are becoming very crazy, and they are not following the distancing anything. Just they want to have a lot of liquor. They want to have 15 to 20 liters one person. So that has made our country vulnerable to have more infections. And it's right also, it's true also. In last 2-3 days, we have a lot of people positive. I mean, 4,000 in one day, we got the positive patients. So if we would not be, so, it is very, now what we need to have a good economy. We need to lift up the lockdown so that we can survive now. Earlier we were saving the lives. Now we have to save the livelihood. To save the livelihood, we need to partial lift up the lockdown, and that is only possible when you will follow the guidelines, when you follow the preventive measures. That is very important, because our government can give you relaxation, but the virus is not going to give you relaxation. So that is why you need to follow all the social distancing guidelines. You have to follow the hand hygiene. You have to follow all the etiquettes, sneeze etiquettes, and cough etiquettes. That is very important. So once we would be following all these measures, I don't think there is any problem fighting with the COVID-19.
Here's the situation that people need to consider. I don't know that it's fighting because, I've been listening to all of your reports and everyone else's. I think statistically, the mortality rate is probably the same as with anything else. It's the infectious rate that the hospitals and medical industry could not maintain. Right? Look at there. But they cannot maintain.
It's a tissue paper inside the mask.
Yeah, it's just tissue paper. That's what I tell people. It's not hard. I don't think any of them are real standards. I really don't.
This mask is also
This is
having
what I drove up. This is what I drove up with. This is my mask.
Right?
So here,
better. They told me
this is material. You remember when we go for the suit?
Here, Kim, I would like to. Kim, I would like to comment upon all these masks, because the mask which you are having, that is a wall mask. So the wall mask, they are of no use, because once you exhale into the mask, you will see there is a big space that can have access to a lot of viruses.
Oh.
So what we say, the respirator mask or the wall mask, I don't think they are the good quality mask. The simple triple ply, 3-ply surgical mask is good. Or what you can do, you can have any cloth cover. I'm talking about the general public. If you don't have any COVID patient in your vicinity, you can have a simple cloth cover. That is very important. Or what you can have, if you see this,
like a scarf.
Yeah. So scarf is good, but if you can see this is a handkerchief. You can fold this handkerchief into 4 layers. And now what you have to do is just you have to fold from here, right? And fold from here. And now you can put 2 rubber bands on both the sides. And this way you can have a very good mask. You need not to spend you don't need to invest into your mask, and your mask is ready.
Or you can just wrap your scarf around a couple of times, and because I have a 2-ply in here, and
here you see your mask is ready.
Ankit, coming back to the question of masks, you found a tissue paper, right?
Yeah, that's what I
Was it worth spending so much? My question to you is, was it worth? Right. Now coming to the basic mask hygiene, Ankit. It is good to use substitutes if you are not dealing with COVID patients directly. Okay. Yeah. If you are not dealing with COVID patients directly, you can use whatever substitutes you want. But if you enter that fortunate area called isolation zone, mind you, nothing less of NOIS N95 or N95. Okay. There, don't do the experiments, please, of wearing your handkerchief and things and take our names there. Doctors on the show showed us handkerchiefs and stuff. This is for your routine practice, either home.
This is for the general public. This is for the general public.
Traveling, right?
Yeah.
Let us. I'm making it very specific to general public when you're traveling, when you are out in the environment, right?
Yes.
But when you enter an isolation zone, the norms have to be strictly followed. That is what it is.
No, and I think it's just going to be disciplines, and that we're going to have to enforce. I think we're going to see a large spike when we do re-entry because people won't know how to behave. So I'm going to stay home while they re-enter. I got a lot of work to do anyway. I've got a book I need to start back up and finish. I got a lot of work to do. So,
sure.
I think we need to just be respectful and do this patiently. And I just, I was listening to about the schools, right? And somebody had told me that, how we have the next generation of kids, and they're calling these the lost generation. They feel like that the children are going to lose so much by not being educated properly. And there has been talk about not letting the schools re-enter this August. I know our university has already voted on it. The one I sit on the board at, they already voted on no reentry this year. Several other schools are saying we'll see how it goes through the summer. But we also know that this is a disease that spreads in the cold, so it could, reinfect us in the winter. I think if they let the children go back to school, we just got to think smart about this. They say children get through it better. I've heard different stories from different doctors about the youth getting it. They said that oddly, people from the age of 25, I think it is, to 35 are having strokes from this. And I don't know why, but they have been reporting a higher stroke incidence in that age group with the COVID. So I think that's an interesting study that somebody should do. And not us, but I hope that somebody studies that, because that tells me that the disease gets into the bloodstream and does damage. So there's a lot that we just need to. And so I have. So why don't you guys talk a little bit about some other things that we could be doing, because COVID isn't the only problem we have. What are some other things we're being faced with?
Kim, coming to your answer on why stroke incidents, COVID has known to cause pulmonary embolism, embolus sort of pictures, okay, in patients, where prophylactically, DVD prophylaxis has shown to give any benefit, right? So, coming to your basic answer, this is known fact in COVID. Pulmonary embolism, it's been published in NEGM, Journal of Medicine, right? And so prophylactically, you give DVD prophylaxis to such patients and prevent the clots from being formed in the body. Now, this virus is also known to travel to the brain. Earlier, we used to think that the cytokine storm is there. Now we are getting new insights of this virus affecting the brain per se, the virus traveling out, right? And giving rise to CNS manifestations. As we go close into the phase of the disease, we'll learn many things about the disease, right? And would answer a lot of our questions. But let me ask you, come to your basic question that people not following norms and your schools and everything opened up, lockdown lifted up, which concerned you came, right? Point is, Kim, there's a thin line between scientific success and economic success. Okay, I'm coming to the point. In economy, if you ask your employer to pay you sitting at home, or my employer to pay me sitting at home in this lockdown period, he can pay for us for a particular period of time. After that, he's going to run out of resources, right? And our betterment, everything comes at a cost, Kim. We have to draw a line. If I don't have money, what am I going to do? There will be a situation which will be burning out as riots in the society, which will make the situation even more worse than COVID per se. Riots plus COVID, imagine what a mess it would be. So
So
lawmaking authorities have drawn a line. They please people saying, okay, we are lifting the ban, but they don't actually do it. They do it for a period of day or so, and they come back to the basics back. If you tell a person, we are going to put you on a 8 months ban inside your house, how would it feel? To hear also 8 months ban. You know how in India we did it? We did it, but we started from one day, right? The president, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi took a 1 day ban, then made it a 12-15 days ban. Then we went on to complete so many days of ban. If you tell a person well in advance that this is the period blocked out, panic will ensue. There's not much of information which people have. So the way you can guide us, you can help us, like I told you last time, spread awareness among the people, spread positive awareness among the people, so that they are at peace. They're not thinking too much. An anxious mind is a panicked mind. When there are a lot of knowledge gaps in it. I don't know what is going to happen to me in the future. Right.
And I agree with you. I think transparency is good. I think facts, not fear. When we understand what we're dealing with, we make better choices. One of the things that helped me a lot was understanding how epidemics are maintained and controlled. And the best way I learned this was through a true story called 93 Days. And that made me accept that it takes 90 days, a full season, to truly maintain and control a real epidemic. Because you first got to get past the infectious stages, you got to get past the mass infection, and then get it under control. And then you got to wait a few weeks to make sure you have zero reinfected. And I don't think people understand that. I don't think they understand the theory behind it. This particular one was a little more difficult because you were contagious upon infection, but you didn't have symptoms for 14 days. And the test kits take another 10 to 14 days. So you get a symptom and then you get tested to see if you're positive or negative, and that's another 10 to 14 days. So the ability to maintain, but people, and I think India did it right. You got to mentally stable your people, right? You've got to mentally stable a large amount of people, but they need to understand that a true infectious disease, which helps to research infectious diseases, it's not 1 month. And I guess it's easier for me to accept because I've been incapacitated one time after a surgery. I had to lay still for 90 days. Lay still. I couldn't move my arms, legs, anything for 90 days. That was the worst. And I will tell you what, worst feeling ever in my life. And I swore I would never want to go through that again. But when you have to do it to live or survive, you do. And I can't imagine all the unusual mental state of minds out there. But that was a good way to do it. Mentally stage the people to prepare. At this point, how much further do you think we are, Dr. Rahul? How far do you think India is from maybe re-entry?
Well, to talk about re-entry is not an appropriate time right now. We are still in the entry phase. The blast is yet to come. Honestly, we are yet to face the blast, which we are contemplating from a long time. And to add to confusion, this virus has mutated till now by 30 times. It's one of the fastest mutating viruses which we have ever seen. Okay, which makes its treatment slightly or not difficult task and much complicated to catch hold of it. To be honest, you guys must have known I've spoken of the two strains of the virus on the last time, the L and the S strain, and the kind of aggression the both of them have toward the patients, right? So having multiple factorial things in play, I think so rather than avoiding the COVID, we need to learn to live with the COVID.
Didn't I say that? Yay! I said that weeks and weeks ago.
Really, yes.
I prayed for that. Remember, Ankit, I told you I was praying and praying. Every morning I pray. And I was asking God to cure us. And then one day the brain said, no, there is no cure. You have to learn to live with it. And immunity is the best way. I agree with you. No, that is so right. We need to learn. And I'm so glad a doctor said this, because when Kim says this, it doesn't matter. But when a doctor says this, you're right. We need to live. And we need to build our immunities. We need to learn to wash our hands more, wear better clothing, right? I'm going to wear the Darth Vader mask. So, but no, I think you're right. We need to learn to live among the evil. It's just going to be there. The next virus is going to be there. I think if our immunity's up, we can fight it. Let me ask you a question, though. Yes. Yeah, there you go. I like that. That's me right there. That's me. I want one over my head, though, so my hair doesn't get contaminated. So, but here's the thing. We've got, there's going to be other viruses. What are your thoughts on this being potentially what happened? Our mask got stuck. Ankit. And Kit left. Okay, so let me see if I can get rid of this. I never know where he pulls the pictures up from, so bear with me a second.
Okay.
Here we go. So
Okay.
anyway, so here's my question though. What if, so it's not that difficult for bodies to build immunities, I think, to viruses that are naturally born. But what if this is manipulated? What if this is a man manipulated virus? Can our bodies learn to fight those?
If it is a man-made manipulated virus, a lot of thinking has gone to make this virus. Let me be honest to you. A virus which has mutated more than 30 times in a short span of time. A virus which has thrown treatments of guard, of useless. That means there's a very strong critical mind. If you have to make it a man-made thing, a strong critical mind which who knew the possible outcomes, the possible cures, and has placed a gene exactly where it is to be placed with. And more or less, I will not comment on whether it's man-made or whether it's a natural virus, because this is not the forum for me to comment on it.
Right.
Because when you comment something on a public forum, you have to have a proper evidence to it. So there are some rumors, there are some things going on, and we do not take into account with that thing. But what we can do, we should speak of those things. You can do hand washing, you can keep social distancing, you can eat good food, you can stay positive, you can adopt a healthy life practices which can keep these viruses away. Having adopted all such techniques will not only keep the natural selected viruses away, even man-made selected viruses away. Right? If this is a man-made of a virus, it should have blown India into pieces by now. With the population density we live, with the kind of illiteracy we have, with the kind of practices we do, and with the kind of outbursts we have in our country, right? It should have been blown into pieces by now. But there's something which is controlling it. I don't say we doctors are doing it. I don't say it's something nature is doing it, but something is doing it. It's a united force of trust between the doctors, the politicians, and the other authorities. See, there are always exceptions to the rule, Kim, that some people will come out to break the laws. They are lawbreakers by nature, but we don't rely on them too much. What you can do, you do it. What other person can do, the other person do. If you guys educate the people so well about this virus, right, which is not being happening. See, if you see the news channels every day, we have 100 cases added, 200 cases added. But why? What are those 100 cases all about? Right? If somebody takes a responsibility to educate people, right practices of hygiene, I don't think so. The virus will even survive, whether man-made or human, nature-made or artificial intelligence-made virus. It will not for a long time. See, social distancing effectively killed its transmission for a longer period. You have data over that, right? But how to use it and when to use it and in which way to implement it is a different ball game. It's a policy making decision, which I think so should be left to the policy makers. We do not criticize them, we do not judge them. We cooperate with them and use our minds and our intellect to make the best of the time we have.
No, and I think you're right. And that is something we have to be careful about, is talking about whether something is manipulated or not, because we do need scientific facts. I think what I kind of want to start understanding, though, is that if it does become man manipulated, could our bodies potentially, fight it or live with it? That's something I would like to research as well, to understand, because we're going to we got to learn to understand what we're dealing with. And this caught us off guard. I don't think it will ever happen again. I hope it won't ever happen again. I'm sure in your country, you talk about it too, that never in your lifetime have you seen everything shut down like this. It's just, and you would have never expected it. That's what.
But I'll tell you what, India is not like other countries. We have shutdowns on a lot of different parts of India at a point of time, because we have a lot of social and civil issues going around. And we are okay with that, because there is the problem, we are trying to fix it. And if you're aware about Kashmir and all other issues, so those states are a lot of, they have closed down for more than 6 months, 8 months, 1 year. But people are trying to help government how to sustain and how to live a healthy life during the lockdown and before and after the lockdown. And as Dr. Rahul said, we need to follow and we need to help our government to take the right decisions, and then only we can work it out in a much better environment. But Dr. Rahul, one of our viewers would like to know that they are suffering from asthma. How they should isolate themselves during this situation? Is it good that they will stay at home, or they can go out sometime whenever required?
See, Ankit, where is the person staying? Is he in the red zone or the green zone or the orange zones? The question starts there.
This
Even if
question
you're
is
in the
from
red
Africa.
zone, from person
Africa.
is from where? Africa. Okay, African countries are also. I've seen the African map. The virus is spreading. Best
Yeah.
is to stay at home for any comorbid individual. The precaution is stay at home where you are. Right.
Yeah.
No matter your asthma is less severe, moderately severe, you are on n number of doses of inhaled steroids, which will help you, will not help you. It's left to speculations. Right. But best is to stay at home, and staying at home helps. It helped a lot of people here in my country. It will help a lot of people outside also.
I think that's just the still the best advice in living with the virus like this. Is just staying home as much as possible. There, you can find so many things to do, and there's no reason. But they say that right now the danger is people becoming depressed. Maybe people getting sick and not getting out and getting the help they need. I will say this: my doctor was shocked when she saw me, because you know how you guys keep telling me to get out and get more sun, right? So every day when Kid and I are finished, there's like an hour of sun left. And I run outside with my water, and I get the sun. I sit in the sun every day for 20 minutes. And my doctor goes, "How did you get so much sun?" Because I have color. And she was like, "How did you get so much sun on you?" And I sit outside every day for 20 minutes. And so she was very happy to see that I was healthier. So, yeah. But doing these things aren't just to fight this virus. Building our immunity, getting more sunshine, not bad, not a lot, but more sunshine, drinking hydration. All of these things help fight other diseases too. This is what I keep telling people. What we're training our bodies to do right now won't just protect us from COVID. It's going to protect us from obesity. It could protect us from other flus, or help us get over them faster. It could protect us from, I'm not going to say cancer, but it can. I mean, learning these new habits can protect us from so many other things. And like Dr. Rahul said, we can't fight it. We got to learn to live with it. And that's, I think, the best advice we've had. So, yeah. Of course, Ankit knows why I like that. Because I keep saying it. If you can't fight it,
I would like to welcome Dr. Tula and Dr. Jatin.
Hi, guys.
And Sabah on our show today on TV.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. We have Dr. Rahul Bahot from Jaslok Hospital, Mumbai. He's a pulmonologist consultant there, and he was sharing a lot of good insights, information, and especially in a humor way, as well as in a bonding way as well, that what we need to do and what kind of things we need to follow, and how we doctors can work together around the world to stop this pandemic, and what are the best practices in environment. It was a very good information. I would appreciate if once you finish this show, if you can watch Dr. Rahul on YouTube, on IBM TV, that would be a great information.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. And thank you for
Come
joining.
to Dr. Because travel specialist, and we would. So, Dr. Jatin, we are getting a lot of queries from that they are having kind of pneumonia or a lot of. What are the best practices for them? And they don't have much amount of PPE kit. The testing is not going on.
Your voice is not. Your voice is not clear. It's breaking. Can you please come again? Your voice is not clear. Ankit?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's coming, but it's breaking. Yeah. Please.
Sir, so we are getting a lot of questions from Africa that people are struggling from pneumonia and a lot of other flus apart from the COVID-19. and
Yeah.
especially the asthmatic patients. So what they need to do at this point of time, because they don't have that many amount of kit as well in a lot of countries in Africa. So what is the best way for them to follow it?
So the best way to follow in the countries, just like the developing countries, where there is a mismatch between the resources and the utilization part. What they can do is symptom basis priority checking of those patients. One thing. Second thing is if the patient is undergoing any kind of elective surgeries, and doctors who is planning to go for elective surgeries, if they think so that they are the patient who require the COVID testing, then only they can go for testing. Just as such, going through all the patients for COVID testing, even though they are asymptomatic, I don't think so that the developing countries will able to do that. Second thing, and the third thing which I like to also highlight is that African countries, they are the one which we earlier